Bring in Rich Eisen, who joins us now. Yeah. See what I deal with? Hi, Rich.
DP, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Have you name dropped me in Cincinnati while you've been there?
I arrived last night.
Yeah.
And spent most of my time in Kentucky driving here. And then went to sleep.
Oh, okay.
So I guess the answer is no.
Okay.
But I'm heading to the jungle, to Paul Brown Stadium, to do my show.
Yeah.
At noon Eastern time. Should I start there?
No, you don't have to.
How much ice do you cut here?
If you want to go to White Castle and you want to order a suitcase of White Castle, put it on my tab.
You know, I did that for a piece at the Combine about 7 years ago when we all went in the bod pod to have our body fat tested. It was me, Jim Morrow Sr., and Butch Davis getting it in the bod pod. And I brought a case of White Castles in there and did a crossword while I had my body fat tested.
I like it.
That was next level.
Have you? Are you a Gold Star or Skyline? Are you interested in having the chili?
I'm more of a Grader's ice cream guy than any of that.
Okay, but that's dessert.
I know, that's what I'm into. I'm not really into chili, I'll be honest.
Okay, all right.
Not a chili guy, I'm a dessert guy.
Okay, fair enough.
Grader's ice cream here is top notch on the planet.
Yes, it is. It's great. When's the last time the Bengals Browns was this big?
Well, Dan, I'm gonna cough up a nugget that I have planted in one of my lead-ins for tonight.
Wow.
Because I give. When I come on this show, I give. I don't just take.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me close my eyes and envision you on the NFL Network tonight on camera.
Yes.
Okay, ready?
Wearing a crisp blue Prada suit.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Go.
Tonight's game between the Browns and the Bengals is the first time where both teams come in on a winning streak since December of 1971.
Wow.
That's the last time both these teams entered a game against each other, having won more than just once in a row coming in.
I like hearing that.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that
what?
Stat of the day. Stop.
See, I laid out for that sound pop there. Is that a TV or a radio term too? See, I'm getting this whole simulcast thing down, Dan.
What, laying out? You can lay out on TV.
And radio.
Yeah, well, definitely on
I know
radio.
You always say that's a TV term, but isn't that a radio term too?
No, it's both.
Okay.
Yeah, you can lay out.
All right.
Yeah. We're talking to Rich Eisen from the NFL Network. Tonight on the NFL Network, you'll be able to see Bengals and the Browns. Which of these teams makes the playoffs?
I am bullish on the Browns, Dan. I'm bullish on the Browns. This is a big game tonight. This is a game-changing game tonight.
Wow.
Because they win this one, they snap the longest losing streak on the road in division in a very long time. They've lost 17 in a row on the road in division. And they would be 6-3 going into a mini-bye, after which they're the first team to take on Ryan Mallett, his first career start there for the Texans in their house. They win that game. They're 7-3, and Josh Gordon comes back. And if Cameron can get healthy and get back out there, and Terrence West can continue running the ball in this manner, and maybe Ben Tate gets going again, I mean, why not the Browns? Why not the Browns? They're done with the Steelers, who are as red hot as any team in that division. They don't have to see them again. They would have to face the Bengals again, but that would be at home. And they win tonight, they could even sweep a season series with Cincinnati, which doesn't mean that much, to be honest. I know everybody's making a lot of hay that the Bengals swept the season series from the Ravens, but that one tie that they have will serve as a tiebreaker. So it is a big game for the Browns tonight, Dan.
Rich Eisen from the NFL Network joining us on the program. Have you bought into Arizona?
Oh, yeah. I have absolutely bought in Arizona. And unfortunately for Arizona, Tony Romo being out and Brandon Weeden being in robbed them of the national media attention-grabbing win that Dallas got when it went to Seattle. Had Tony Romo been in that game facing those blitz schemes, I think the result would have been similar. and we would all be sitting there saying, wow, they went into Dallas and beat Tony Romo. Instead, it's like, well, they did that to Brandon Weeden. Now we got to sit here and wait. This week they take on the Rams. The following week they take on the Lions in what could be for the right to host an NFC championship game if everything plays out. And they'll be like, it's the Lions. Until they go ahead and beat Seattle or San Francisco in their house, even though they've already beaten the Niners, maybe we'll just be sitting here in a national media stance and say, well, we'll have to see until the playoffs. But I'm not there. I've bought into the Cardinals already.
I also wanted to bring this up as a possibility here. Let's say the Jets clean house. What would be the likelihood that maybe they would reach out to Jim Harbaugh if it doesn't work out in San Francisco, which, all indications are that maybe they'll part ways at the end of this year?
Well, they'd have to really pay him. I mean, from what I've heard, Harbaugh has turned down a couple of contract extension offers that have a ton of money attached to it. And I don't know. I mean, sure, why not? I don't know if Jim Harbaugh would play in New York. Certainly if
he wins, it
I guess you win. Yeah, it does work. Then he's the hard-nosed guy that everybody needs in New York. If not, but if I'm the Jets, sure. If I'm the Jets and the house gets cleaned, you have to go for as big name a coach with as big a resume as you can possibly get, and let that person choose the general manager and go for it.
The Eagles with Mark Sanchez. Are you buying into this story, this report that came out a couple of days ago, that even before the injury, the Eagles were, ready to move on from Nick Foles?
Well, I mean, Foles definitely was struggling. There's no doubt that the Nick Foles we saw last year was not the Nick Foles that showed up for the first 9 weeks of the season in Philadelphia. There's no question about it. So it's possible, sure. I mean, Chip Kelly is as unconventional as we know as they come. And if he was seeing Sanchez perform well in practice, I would believe that, sure. It's not like Nick Foles is as guaranteed the starting role. They gave him the 9 games based on what we saw last year, and he was struggling. But we'll see, right? I think Sanchez is going to perform well. I absolutely do. I don't think they're going to fall off the earth, and that said, I don't think they're going to run away with it either. Which is why I would rest Tony Romo if I'm Dallas this week. Brandon Weeden should be the 1-8 team on any continent in any stadium. So you rest Romo, you give him 2 more weeks to rest up, and you're 7-3, or even worse, 6-4. You take a look at the rest of the landscape. 6-4. If you give the Eagles a win this week on Monday night against Carolina, which looked horrible a week ago tonight, that would make them just a game and a half in front of you, and you have both your games left against them. I don't think they lose against Jacksonville anyway. I think they're 7-3, and then you come back from a bye, and you've got your 6 games left, and you go above 500 in those, you could be an 11 or 12-win team. And so the sky's not falling for me for Dallas.
You had Tom Brady on the show yesterday.
Yes, sir.
What stood out?
What stood out was just how relaxed he sounded, and how he was still so focused on the task at hand, while just seemingly enjoying this 5-game stretch that he's on, but knowing that he's still got that typical Brady fire burning. When I asked him what he was going to do on his bye week, he didn't have an answer. It's like he didn't know what he was going to do on his bye. He said, that's a good question. Now, it's like the football void is not there. What does he do with himself? He was changing a diaper at 6 a.m, which I found was breaking news right there.
I like that. But
what so he is as locked in as they come, and as great as he's ever been. And that Sunday night game, Dan, you've got 2 Sunday night games in a row with both teams coming off of byes. This week with Green Bay, Chicago, and then the following week, New England and the Colts. Very well rested, well coached teams, certainly with the Colts and the Patriots coming off of their byes next week. It's going to be great to see. Certainly with Brady having faced Peyton and beating him, and now taking on his successor in Indianapolis.
Well, have fun tonight. The coverage begins at 6 Eastern on the NFL Network. Of course, the Rich Eisen Show following this show on Audience Channel 239 DirecTV.
So I say I know Dan Patrick, or I say I was on Dan's show. How would you like me to
let somebody
drop
bring it up to you.
Huh?
Let somebody bring it up to you.
Oh.
And then you go, yeah, I do know him, but look, I don't want any special treatment because I know him.
So drop the he's a complete fraud line that I normally say.
If you need to say that. I have no problem with that. You can even drop that tonight on the show if you want to.
Dan's a complete fraud.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Rich.
All right, DV.
That's Rich Eisen, NFL Network, and The Rich Eisen Show.